In the Venetian lagoon, there is an island where the dying were sent to wait for death. Just 2 miles from Venice, this island holds secrets that locals refuse to discuss. This is Poveglia, the most haunted island in the world, where 160,000 people died. Settled in 421 AD, Poveglia was first a refuge from barbarian invasions. For centuries, it was a thriving fishing community, home to families and fishermen. In 1348, the Black Death arrived in Venice and everything changed. Venetian authorities made a fateful decision. Poveglia would become a quarantine island for the dying. They built the lazaretto, a massive plague hospital where the infected waited to die. The sick were dragged from their families and taken to Poveglia to await death. Inside the lazaretto, 50% of patients died, their bodies burned in massive pits. 160,000 bodies lie buried on Poveglia. Half the island is human remains. In 1630, a second plague wave struck, and Poveglia became saturated with death. Archaeological evidence confirms the soil contains layers of plague victims stacked deep. In 1777, Napoleon turned Poveglia into a military fortress with cannons. Napoleon's soldiers reported strange occurrences, beginning Poveglia's reputation for supernatural terror. In 1922, Poveglia became a mental asylum for the criminally insane. The asylum used controversial treatments, including lobotomies, performed without anesthesia. The asylum director, known as Dr. Paolo, allegedly performed cruel experiments on his patients. Legend says Dr. Paolo threw patients from the bell tower until he himself jumped to death. In 1968, the asylum closed and Poveglia was abandoned to the elements. For over 50 years, Poveglia has decayed, becoming a ghost island, frozen in time. Paranormal investigators have filmed on Poveglia, capturing unexplained phenomena and terrifying experiences. The Ghost Adventures crew reported physical attacks and captured compelling electronic voice phenomena. British show Most Haunted also investigated, adding to Poveglia's international paranormal reputation. Visitors report screams, shadow figures, and the feeling of being pushed or touched. The Italian government has declared Poveglia off-limits, requiring special permits to visit. Urban explorers risk arrest to document Poveglia, posting forbidden footage online. In 2014, Poveglia was auctioned for $704,000, but the buyer backed out. Today, Poveglia remains abandoned, its mysteries and hauntings preserved by isolation. But what really happened on Poveglia, and why do visitors refuse to return? The Black Death arrived in Europe in 1347, killing 1/3 of the population. Authorities invented the lazaretto system, isolating the sick on remote islands. The first lazaretto was built in 1423, creating a model for plague control. In 1468, Poveglia was chosen as the site for a larger permanent facility. The Lazaretto Nuovo was an architectural marvel designed to house thousands of plague victims. The 40-day quarantine, or quarantagiorni, gave us the word we still use today. Healthy sailors were separated from the sick in a sophisticated tiered quarantine system. Plague symptoms were horrifying, with 50% mortality and no effective treatment. Monks and nuns risked their lives nursing plague victims, showing courage amid hellish conditions. Dead carts collected bodies daily, throwing them into mass graves with no time for ceremony. In 1576, 50,000 Venetians died, overwhelming Poveglia's capacity. So many died that Poveglia's soil could hold no more, forcing burials at sea. The plague of 1630 killed 1 million Italians, activating Poveglia once more. An estimated 160,000 people died on Poveglia, making it Earth's most haunted island. Modern soil analysis confirms that 50% of Poveglia's soil is human remains. Poveglia's death toll rivals the world's worst mass killing sites concentrated on one small island. The trauma of Poveglia entered Venetian folklore, creating legends that persist today. Even today, Venetians speak of Poveglia in whispers, as if the plague might return. Poveglia became a symbol of plague itself, representing Europe's darkest pandemic memories. In 1793, Napoleon converted Poveglia into a military fortress with cannons. Poveglia's position controlled lagoon access, making it strategically vital for Venice's defense. French soldiers reported strange occurrences, beginning Poveglia's ghost story. Tradition, soldier diaries from the 1800s record ghost sightings and unexplained screams. Between wars, Poveglia decayed, its plague passed, seemingly forgotten by the world. In 1922, Italy chose Poveglia as the site for a new mental asylum. They renovated the plague buildings to house the mentally ill, reusing spaces of death. The criminally insane were sent to Poveglia, isolated from society with no possibility of escape. The asylum was chronically overcrowded and underfunded, creating conditions of suffering. The asylum director, known as Dr. Paolo, became legendary for alleged cruelty and experiments. Lobotomies were performed without anesthesia using an ice pick inserted through the eye socket. Straitjackets, isolation, and electroshock were routine, with abuse reportedly common. Patient deaths went largely unrecorded, adding to the island's mass graves. Legend says Dr. Paolo threw patients from the bell tower, though records are unclear. Dr. Paolo died falling from his own bell tower, whether by suicide or murder unknown. In 1968, the asylum closed, and Poveglia was finally abandoned to the dead. Poveglia's total death toll exceeds 160,000, making it Earth's most haunted location. By death density, Poveglia surpasses every other haunted location on Earth per square meter. 3 waves of death, plague, war, and madness created layers of accumulated suffering. For 56 years, Poveglia has decayed, becoming a frozen monument to human suffering. For decades, local fishermen avoided Poveglia, believing it brought bad luck and death. In the 1990s, ghost hunting culture rediscovered Poveglia, making it an urban legend. Early paranormal pioneers braved Poveglia's night, capturing the first modern evidence of hauntings. In 2009, Ghost Adventures brought professional television production to Poveglia. Zach Baggins was physically attacked, receiving scratches during the bell tower investigation. They captured Evs saying leave and help, providing technical evidence of presence. The episode reached millions, making Poveglia internationally famous for paranormal activity. British show Most Haunted also investigated, providing international confirmation of activity. Multiple teams documented screams, shadows, and the feeling of being pushed or grabbed. The bell tower shows the most activity, suggesting Dr. Paolo and his patients remain. Paranormal theorists believe mass death creates spiritual residue that persists for centuries. Asylum victims suffering violent deaths may form a different layer of trapped energy. Skeptics suggest infrasound and carbon monoxide cause Poveglia's reported effects naturally. However, consistent reports across decades, physical marks, and EVPs remain unexplained. Italy declared Poveglia off-limits, officially preserving its mystery and protecting visitors. Poveglia is government property. Visiting requires special permits, rarely granted. Urban explorers risked fines and arrest to document Poveglia, posting forbidden footage online. YouTube videos of Poveglia have millions of Poveglia views, democratizing access to the forbidden. In 2014, a businessman bid $704,000 to renovate Poveglia. The buyer backed out, citing curse fears and family opposition to the haunted project. No development occurred. Poveglia remains a frozen time capsule of death and mystery. Historians and developers debate Poveglia's future, tourism, or sacred preservation of the dead. With Venice overcrowded, Poveglia's tourism potential creates economic pressure to develop. 160,000 dead deserve memorial dignity, not exploitation as tourist entertainment. Respectfully managed, Poveglia could educate about pandemic history and mental health awareness. As of 2024, Poveglia remains undecided, slowly decaying into the lagoon. Climate change threatens Poveglia. Rising seas may destroy the island before humans decide its fate. Poveglia warns us about pandemic preparedness and mental health treatment. Progress still needed. Poveglia reflects historical cruelty toward the sick. We must ask, how much has truly changed? 160,000 stories remain untold. Poveglia demands we remember them. Whether Poveglia is truly haunted remains unanswered, adding to its enduring mystery. 2 miles apart represent humanity's capacity for both beauty and horror. Dark tourism raises ethical questions about respect for the dead versus human curiosity. Would you visit Poveglia, or does respect for the dead demand we stay away? Poveglia remains, its mysteries unsolved, demanding we remember the dead and learn from history. This documentary was researched using historical archives, academic sources, and verified accounts. Key sources include Venetian State Archives and paranormal investigation documentaries. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who enable independent documentary production. Subscribe and click the bell for new documentaries every Thursday. Exploring forgotten history. Next week, the $50 billion bubble that destroyed Holland and invented modern finance. By 2010, international teams from 5 continents had investigated Poveglia's mysteries. Advanced thermal cameras detected impossible, cold spots where no wind could reach. Recordings captured voices, speaking Latin, a language no living investigator knew that night. Motion sensors triggered in empty halls, doors slammed where no wind could blow. In 2013, idly auctioned a 99-year lease, sparking fierce preservation debates. Mayor Luigi Brugnaro won with €513,000, promising respectful development. By 2015, payments failed, the lease died, and Poveglia remained forsaken. The people of Venice rose up, call a quest, demanding Poveglia belong to the public, not profiteers. Scientists found plague bacteria still alive in the soil after 600 years. Ground radar confirmed the horror, 160,000 bodies stacked beneath. Drones revealed Poveglia's secrets to millions who would never dare set foot. Urban explorers risked arrest and worse, broadcasting their terror to millions online. A new generation of investigators found the same ghosts their mentors had encountered. Scientists measured visitors' terror, heart rates doubled, cortisol spiked, fear was physical. A decade of footage compiled orbs, shadows, figures skeptics could not explain. The 2020 pandemic brought new understanding of Poveglia's ancient isolation and despair. Venice herself emptied, and Poveglia seemed to watch, remembering when cities die. Streaming platforms brought Poveglia to living rooms worldwide, educating through terror. 30-second videos created new legends, digital folklore spreading faster than plague once did. Italy debated museum or memorial, profit or respect, access or preservation. Engineers warned the bell tower may fall, taking 6 centuries of horror with it. Supervised tours were proposed, offering controlled access to the brave and respectful. Venetian elders protested, "This is our ancestral trauma, not entertainment for tourists." Nature reclaimed Poveglia, birds nested where humans died, beauty after horror. Artificial intelligence now analyzed EVEPs, finding patterns human ears missed entirely. Laser scanning preserved Poveglia digitally, ensuring the island survives, even if destroyed. Peer-reviewed journals studied Poveglia, lending credibility to centuries of ghost stories. Poveglia ranked first in every category: most active, most documented, most terrifying. Visitors reported lasting disturbances, nightmares, apparitions, a curse that followed home. Today, Poveglia remains forbidden, watched, waiting for the next curious soul. At sunset, Poveglia transforms, beautiful and terrible, between the living and dead. Lights appear in windows where no wires run, illuminating rooms no one enters. The bell tower stands against the moon where the mad doctor met his end. Sound carries strangely here, screams from centuries past seem to echo tonight. In August heat, visitors see their breath cold. That cold defies physics and explanation. Fully charged batteries die instantly, a classic sign that something draws the power. Figures stand in corners, vanishing when seen directly, playing eternal hide and seek. Invisible hands push, pull, grab, the dead demanding attention, violating personal space. Visitors describe sudden despair, thoughts of death, emotions not their own intruding. Time moves differently here. Hours pass as minutes, or minutes stretch forever. Other islands have ghosts, but Poveglia has layers: plague, madness, murder, suicide, haunted or cursed. Poveglia defies classification, existing in its own terrible category. Even skeptics leave changed, their rational explanations shattered by direct experience. Priests who visited spoke of spiritual warfare, not mere ghosts, but something darker. Psychics flee, overwhelmed, hearing thousands of voices, speaking simultaneously, impossible to silence. Historical moments replay here, plague doctors walk, patients scream, the past refuses rest. Children's laughter echoes most disturbingly, innocent victims who never understood their fate. The mad doctor remains aggressive and territorial, guarding his tower from the living. The plague dead move as one, sharing sorrow, too vast for individual expression. Asylum patients linger, bearing marks of experiments, 20th century suffering still screaming. All eras exist simultaneously here. Plague victims walking through asylum corridors, time meaningless. Scientists suggest geological factors amplify phenomena, earth energy concentrated by water currents. Limestone may record trauma, playing back horror like geological tape. Stone memory, the surrounding water, conducts energy, emotions flowing like currents between worlds, liquid connection. Jung would call it collective nightmare, humanity's shared fear of death made manifest. We must ask, does visiting honor the dead or exploit their endless suffering? Filming their suffering, we become complicit, turning tragedy into entertainment for views. We must preserve Poveglia, not for thrills, but so humanity never forgets its cruelty. Virtual reality offers safe access, experiencing horror without disturbing the dead further. A proper memorial could name the dead, giving dignity to those discarded anonymously. A research station could study continuously, replacing fear with understanding through science. Artists transform Poveglia's horror into meaning, culture processing trauma through creation. Novelists offer safe passage to Poveglia, letting us explore without risking our souls. Video games let players survive Poveglia, experiencing terror with reset buttons available. Schools could teach Poveglia's lessons, medical ethics, human rights, never again. Medical students study Poveglia, learning how psychiatry failed, so vowing to do better. Pandemic experts study Poveglia's quarantine, learning isolation's psychological toll, preparing better. From Poveglia's horror came progress, patient rights, informed consent, dignity for all. Venetians embrace Poveglia as dark mirror. Acknowledging beauty always hides suffering. Every culture has its Poveglia, proving humanity's capacity for both cruelty and hope. Each sunrise brings temporary peace, nature's promise that even horror cannot last forever. As mist clears, so does understanding. Poveglia reveals truth to those who listen. Seagulls nest where humans died, nature indifferent, continuing its eternal cycle regardless. Venetians fish nearby, living normally, survival requiring healthy distance from such darkness. Tourists pass, safely distant, consuming horror as spectacle, comfortable in their separation. Now you must decide, will you visit or preserve Poveglia as distant legend? Poveglia exists at these coordinates, verifiable, real, waiting for the curious. From space, Poveglia is tiny, yet holds horror enough to darken the world. From cosmic distance, borders vanish, Poveglia invisible, yet its lessons remain universal. But zoom in and abstraction fails. These were real people, individual suffering. Remember the individual, Maria who died at 20, Giovanni, who went mad, souls not statistics. Light a candle now for the 160,000 who rest uneasy. The bell tower remains, watching, waiting, the eternal sentinel of Poveglia's endless sorrow. If you stood on Poveglia at midnight, what whispers would reach your ears? No narration, 6 seconds, ambient lagoon wind, distant imagined bell. The island where no one could die, yet 160,000 perished. They could not die with dignity, nor live with hope, trapped between worlds. We leave Poveglia now, taking its lessons, leaving its ghosts in peace. For the 160,000 who rest on Poveglia, may they find peace. 160,000. Remember this number. This is Poveglia's true horror. 2 centuries of continuous suffering, from plague to asylum to present mystery. Yet flowers grow in the ruins, proving life and hope outlast even Poveglia. Past and present meet here, the doctor and investigator standing together, time meaningless. Look at the screen, you see yourself, and wonder if Poveglia sees you too. Some mysteries must remain, questions unanswered, respecting the dead's right to secrecy. A light moves in the tower, someone watches. Still, you are not alone. Time stretches when fear takes hold. 6 seconds becomes eternity, and eternity becomes acceptance. Poveglia remains, legally closed, protecting both the living and the dead. This concludes our journey to Poveglia. May we never forget what we learned. But its ghosts never do. Goodbye.